The body is the servant of the mind. At the bidding of evil, miserable thoughts, thoughts go into disease and decay. The body is a sensitive, plastic instrument which responds readily to the thoughts by which it is governed, and habits of thought will produce their own effects, good or bad, upon it. Thought is the fount of action, life, and manifestation. Make the fountain pure, and the stream of life will flow with greater purity. If you would perfect your body, guard your mind. If you would renew your body, beautify your mind. Thoughts of malice, envy, disappointment, despondency can rob you of its health and grace. Thoughts of ill will, cynicism, suspicion, and envy is to be confined in a self-made prison hole. But to think well of all, to be cheerful with all, to patiently learn to find the good in all, is to live in sight of the very portals of heaven. And day by day thoughts of peace toward every creature will bring abounding peace to their possessor.
Oh, howdy, didn't see you there. Got the tent behind me. It's currently drying off. It's very wet here by the coast. Not something I'm used to. Like I said, it hasn't really been raining the entire time I've been traveling. It hasn't really been raining. It's more like a drizzle out here, but it drizzles all night. So it accumulates. I'm glad to finally be sleeping in a tent again. I've been sleeping on a tarp just because the comrade and I, it's just easier that way. And I kind of didn't want to be the guy who has a tent and can store his stuff and be tucked away while he's out in the open. So, I sacrificed a little bit of comfort and security on my end to appease his mind. So, I'm glad to be tucked in the woods, find a nice spot I can camp, store my stuff, have it be dry, and be able to articulate some things to you guys today. This video today is going to be titled Out of Sight, Out of Mind. And this is really just what I can ascertain from being a man today in the Western world. You're, women aren't an option. If you don't got money, if you don't got success, if you're not meeting that fanciful itch they've contrived in their mind, they've crafted in their mind. Children, little kids. Something I've been seeing a lot in California just due to the affluence, due to the cloistered nature of these little towns and communities outside the outskirts of the city, right? Suburbs and whatnot. And a lot of these little coastal towns are very affluent, and there's no homeless, there's no vagrants, there's no drug addicts. It's just like you're walking to another dimension, like the Twilight Zone. Everything is orderly. It doesn't really seem to be much filth. Doesn't really seem to be much depression or angst or worry. People are just living their life. And where do you fit in all that? Well, I certainly don't. Sitting at the park yesterday just trying to charge my device, and it's Labor Day. So what do you think happens? Well, families are bringing their kids there. There's a farmer's market going on, and I find myself just being surrounded by families and their kids. And we're talking about young kids. And you just get to the point where you look at them, and you look down, look up at the parents. They're looking at you, kind of beady-eyed. Look down again, and then you realize that I got to move on. I can't be around kids. I'm not talking about this in some kind of like pedo way. It's like, it's nice to see kids having fun playing, like that nostalgia factor of what it was like to be a kid. What was lost. I like to see it, but it is what it is. I probably won't ever be able to interact with a kid again, not in this position. I certainly won't be able to, interact with women again in this position. And once any respectable member of society susses out that you're in this position, good luck. So where does that leave you? Well, that leaves you in the place of being an outcast. and that is something that's detrimental to your psyche, and it compounds every single day because you find out that you just don't really belong anywhere, and the question that comes to the forefront is, can I exist here? Where can I exist? You see it. You see this out in the middle of nowhere? This is where you can exist. Then you can go out into society where all the hullabaloo's going on and get your supplies, your food, your charge, your cope, your little reprieve from the weather, and then you can come back here and you can just keep doing that. And that's what I was doing when I was in New York, about 3 months. I just gather what I need. I go back to my little spot in the woods, cook my food, drink my coffee, make a video, write, do whatever I need to do, and then I go back. I charge my device, go to the library, bike around, maybe wade in the water, do a little cold plunge, and just do what I can, but away from people. Just try to find those areas where it's not too populated, not too out in the open, and just do my thing. It's becoming harder and harder. Seems like everyone has a lot of suspicion when they see a man doing anything by themselves, especially a man who is of my age bracket, around their 30s. I mean, what are you doing, man? It's a weekday. Why aren't you at work? Okay, wow, you bop around from town to town. I think you could understand why I bop around from town to town, because after a month, you become known. And I don't want to be known in an area where there is really no homeless as that homeless guy, because I don't know what the future is going to look like, man. Over 40 states have legislated against homelessness, vagrancy, loitering, and it's illegal. It's a misdemeanor offense. If the cops were to find you, they could cite you. You'd have to go to court, pay a fine. And if you don't do that, it'd be bumped up to a felony. I don't know if they're going to start implementing community watch. You go by some of these towns, these gated communities, these private drives, and there's a sign. It says community watch, report any suspicious activity. And the picture they have below it is literally of Jack the Ripper. Wild. So knowing what's happening in LA with that homeless scene, knowing just what people in general think about homelessness, they some of the worst things come to mind because they don't understand. At the apex fallacy of personal experience, they're unable to put themselves in your shoes, or unable to look past what they know to believe, think is true, and maybe take a step back and be like, okay, wow, it's not all black and white. There's some nuance. Can't quite explain that. So, another like factor of being an outcast is, I wouldn't be homeless if I had a safety net, if I had something to fall back on. And as you guys know, my family has disowned me. I reached out about a month or two ago to my mom's number. She may have changed, I don't know, but I just, said, hey, it's me. Nothing. It's been crickets. So it's official, man. I haven't talked to my sister in years. I haven't talked to my stepdad in years. I haven't talked to my mom in years, or my mom, adopted, whatever. There's no normalcy anymore. I do miss going to family gatherings and dinners. I do miss being able to go to bed at night and know that I have a family that cares about me. If things got bad enough, they'd be willing to help me. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy when you tell people you're at this age and you don't have a family. They're like, well, what happened? I don't tell them that I got disowned. I just say that, oh, they passed away or they moved, or I don't know. You just kind of have to sugarcoat things. You got to obfuscate the details and kind of move the conversation elsewhere. But there's nothing easy about this. There's almost no way that I can foresee of getting back into society. And something one of my friends told me, called him last night, I hadn't talked to him in a long time, is you need to maybe set up a Facebook and start going to Facebook groups in an area that you like and settle in, and be honest. Let them know the details of your situation, and maybe you'll get some sympathy. Maybe someone will see that you desire to work and you're not just trying to leech off the system, that you would be okay being productive, being useful. I don't. I think that's fanciful. I think that's honestly it's a far out thing for someone who's never experienced homelessness to tell me. But he told me anyways, and that was all he said. He wasn't trying to give me any crazy advice. It was just it was a sincere suggestion, but definitely nothing that would work, as you know. I also have to take into account the things that I have. Right, I do have a tent, waterproof tent with a mosquito net, spacious enough to store all my stuff, and is able to be transported, can be packed up into a little thing like this. I've got a 20-degree rated mummy bag. I've got, this water water rain jacket. I've got a wool sweater, so I've got another little puffier jacket. I've got layers. I've got insulated thermal leggings. I've got pants, shorts, underwear, socks. I've got all that I need to be comfortable in the climates that are around the coast around here. Thank goodness I'm not up north where it's cold. But I have what I need to kind of keep trudging along. And I see so many people that end up in this position, which is why I pound the point home. Make sure that you're prepared. Don't wait until you're thrust into this position, because without money, it's gonna be a hard go. And a lot of these social services centers, they don't even really provide you a tent anymore. They don't give you a tarp, a tent, a bag, a sleeping bag, anything. You're out on your own. So you hope you even have a few $100. You go to Walmart and get some of the essentials, because no one's gonna help you. No one's gonna help you. I'm walking downtown, I'm walking through all these towns, and I see Mexicans, I see Asians, I see Indians doing work that I could do, doing work that other young men could do that are forced to be neat, or forced to, live in their parents' basement because they can't get a job, or forced to be homeless because the AI algorithm has sifted their resume to the bottom, or just completely thrown it in the trash, just due to long work history gap, not having all the requisite experience, not having the years of experience, and then not knowing people that would give you a fair shake. I've always known that the only way out of this position is through the assistance of another giving me a chance. Used to happen a lot more, but I don't know. So another thing I was told by my bud yesterday is, oh yeah, when you do that Facebook thing, and you let them know, you'd be surprised, man. People like an underdog. They like to a down and out story. What do you call it? I think he called it just like they like the underdog story. I'm like, dude, this is like Hollywood, bro. This public perception has changed. It's like completely on its head now. That's not true at all. As soon as you say you're homeless, all the people are gonna have is questions, and they're not gonna be good ones. And there's really no way of you saying that, oh well, I car broke down and lost my job, and no one really wanted to help me, and so I had to just kind of go elsewhere. Like, no one wants to hear that kind of stuff, because they always have an option. There's always something to fall back on. They can't imagine being completely down and out destitute like this, and still shaven, still articulate, still having their mind intact, and not allowing themselves to just turn into Diogenes. But as I look at these others that come here, and again, that's not. I don't hate these people, but I do kind of have contempt for this nation that has allowed so many excess men and H-1B visas to be issued and en masse, so that you can get cheaper labor, because that's all that matters. It's a capitalist system at the expense of actual citizens in this country. I mean, I don't feel like a citizen. I don't feel like I'm being catered to in any way. And that is a deep-rooted resentment of mine, that this government sucks, hates you. It sees you as, obviously it's a social security number, that women are obviously given more leverage and opportunity in this gynocentric hellscape, so they're pretty much always going to be, well off, provided for. nons are going to be doing really good here. I mean, I see them. They all have these little businesses. They're happy. They're all working together. They've got racial loyalty, in group preference, and whites don't. And I had a video a while back titled "The Pitiable White Race," and it is pitiable. I mean, I don't really, I don't really want to be around nons because I can't relate to them or understand them. But I also don't really want to be around my own race because I can't relate to them or understand them either. I mean, most of them are doing pretty decent. And if they're not, they're depressed, they're isolated, and maybe possibly neurotic. And that's just not anything I need in my life. But, the little bit of a nostalgia kicked in where I was like, man, dude, I'm going through the processes of the construction these guys are doing. And I'm like, I could easily do that. I could easily do that. Man, I miss doing that. Man, that was a good use of my time. 8 to 10 to 12-hour days, looking back on all that I'd accomplished, getting a paycheck, going home, doing it all over again. I had some place. I was getting attaboys, recognition, and for it all to be gone, it all just to burn up like that due to other people. And that's what it comes down to. I mean, there's some videos on this channel that talk about my experience in the trades, and it's been a series of use and abuse. And so all I have is nostalgia. All I have is to look around me and see what was. And it's haunting. It's very demonstrable to my psyche. I don't like to compare, but it's almost impossible not to compare when it's just in your face all the time. And like I said, guys, I'm in a very affluent area. I mean, I see McLarens, I see Ferraris, I see Corvettes, I see Porsches every single day. I see Bentleys, I see Rolls Royces, electric Rolls Royce. Let that sink in. I mean, we are talking about buco bucks. I see compounds, mansions. I see fucking hell. I see all sorts of Gucci clothes. I mean, I don't fit in. I don't belong here, but I don't really belong anywhere. And so we're back at that existential crossroads of what do I do? Do I walk the coast, this SCT trail, the South Coastal Trail? Do I and understand what I would need to do to actually walk that? I would have to stockpile a lot of nuts, a lot of dried fruit, a lot of tuna, and just go on my way because all I have is EBT. I mean, even with the little bit of money I get from you guys, a little bit of support, um, and don't be offended by that. I mean, like I said, I'm never going to get enough money where I'll be able to get out of this position. 50 bucks, 20 bucks, 100 bucks here. It's all great. It's all utilized efficiently. It gets me through the days, the weeks, the months. I couldn't have done this without the support. Seriously. I'm as much as when I've bashed people, it's because of comments, right? It's the advice of advice. It's not you. I'm very thankful for any support that I've been given. I don't ever want you guys to think I'm just, oh yeah, I'm just taking my money and run. But it's not enough for me to do anything substantial in changing my situation. It's just enough for me to be comfortable in this situation. So I am probably going to move my way up to another town. So I have access to a Planet Fitness. I have access to the gym. My passion, my foundation, really. Something that keeps my mind and body established and governed. I'm going to probably go up there. I got another month. Utilize the showers, warm showers, wash my clothes in the shower, go out in the sun to a park and dry it out, do all that kind of fun stuff. And yeah, mosey about in this town for maybe a month or so, and then make that trek because food stamps is going to get cut off here shortly, and then I'll really be in a pickle. And what I've devised as an alternative or plan moving forward is begging, and I will probably utilize hitchhiking. It's not going to be easy. It's probably I got to be very careful about it now because walking the highways, the throughway, stuff like that is dangerous, and they could very very easily call highway patrol, and I can get legally in trouble, get put in jail for a bit. So, I mean, not anything I'm wanting to do, but I also don't really want to go through this huge stretch of woods, this wilderness, this wasteland, ill-equipped, ill-prepared. But if there's a will, there's a way. And I do have the will at the moment now that I'm not hindered by grass that has been keeping me cognizantly chained. Uh, low, down low. Out of sight, out of mind is the name of the game. You're, or at least I'm gonna speak for myself. I'm not wanted. I may look good. Women may still, oogle and admire and whatnot, but ultimately, that's all it is. It's just a look, and I can look at their ass and their tits and be like, whoa, but that's all it's gonna be. And I can look at the people living their life, and I can have, I have two choices here. I can either get upset and irritated about it, or I can just be like, you know what, good for them. They've got a life, and that's kind of the mindset I need to adopt moving forward. I need to be less. I need to have less care about the things around me. I need to not allow it to really pull me down and drag me down. And today will be the day that I ultimately head out. I make that decision. I tried to reach out to the comrade. I was gonna try to get him a tarp and maybe some bus fare so he could get somewhere else, but I don't know. I don't know really know what his problem is. He seemed to just kind of dip out on me the other night. We're going through the woods. We're trying to find another spot. Our spot kind of got busted by some dogs. The dogs smelled us, and the owners came. And I'm like, oh man, we got to move, man. The spot is it's hot. And in so doing, right, I'm pushing the stroller through the woods, and it's hitting knots and roots and all this other kind of stuff. And finally, my bag falls out, and I get fucking pissed off. I'm like, fuck, and I kick the thing a little bit. And he's got a what is it, a warrant from like another state or whatever because he skipped parole. It's not nothing crazy. He's not like a convict or anything. All he did was he snatched a beer from a Walmart because he's homeless living out of his car and he got caught and yeah got wrapped up and all that. Spent 3 months in the pen and they wanted another 6 months probation and well he didn't. He dipped out on that probation, so he's kind of on the run. And so he's got in the back of his mind, if any attention gets drawn to him, he could possibly get, could possibly get called. And so he's always, always trying to leave, always trying to dip out, always trying to avoid suspicion. But I mean, we were in the middle of nowhere, and all of a sudden he just left. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go over here. I'll meet up with you." He never met up with me. He's been blank. He hasn't been getting back to me. So, a little pretty slack on his end. And he made it clear that he doesn't really care about other people. He's kind of just an opportunist. And, I can respect that, but I hope he knows that he couldn't have really done this journey without me. I gave him proper footwear. I had a tarp that he could sleep on. I had food stamps when he didn't have any food stamps, so he could get food and whatnot. He had someone to travel with him, so he wasn't alone. I mean, he had some clothes, the stuff here and there that he didn't have. I was able to pilfer a few things like toothpaste or deodorant or sunscreen, any little things that he needed, like wet wipes, because obviously he could do it, but if he gets caught, he's going back to prison. So I tried to do everything I could to help this guy and just kind of be booted like that, just cut right there. Kind of gets under my skin. It's kind of like fuck you, buddy. But whatever. I hope he doesn't reach back out to me because I don't really want to help him anymore. I don't hardly have enough money for myself, so to think that I would be helping people as much as I have in this position is kind of crazy to me. But I can't help myself. Being in this position, I don't want to see other people worse off or ill-equipped or unprepared. So if I can help, I do. And usually it's at my expense, like I said in that last video, that existential video. I mean, it is. It's almost always at my expense because I'm prepared. For whatever reason, I've got the resources, I've got the wherewithal, and the people that come into contact with me don't. And all they do is they take, take, take. I get almost nothing from them. They have nothing of insight to give me. I don't really enjoy their company. And then at the end of the day, they just fucking leave high and dry, and I'm left like, oh man, like a dumbass, like an idiot. So that's cool. But Yeah, that's kind of all I had to say today. I'm just really trying to move forward with a mindset of not caring or not caring as much, caring about few things, and that's going to narrow my focus in and really allow angst and stress and desire to fall by the wayside. It's going to be really interesting after this month to see what happens when food stamps is cut off, because I could either be, starving, which, probably won't happen, but I will have to beg. And that is, when I said that, my ego has died many a times, this is going to be really like the culmination of ego death, because when you're out on the street begging and you look the way I do, you gotta really not give a fuck. Or you gotta really be in desperate need. So I'm gonna get a whiteboard, some markers, dry erase markers. I'm not going to do this cardboard shit that all these bums do. I'm going to be a bit more professional about it. And I'm going to keep trying messages until I find something that works. And I'm not going to loiter. I'm going to stay in an area about 15 to 20 minutes, right, where there's high traffic. I'm going to get a few bucks. I'm going to get what I need, and I'm going to dip on out of there. I'm not going to cause the suspicion or the attention of authorities or other people. I'm just going to get what I need and move on. And so, who knows? I'm going to probably meet some interesting people. I'm going to learn more about myself. I'm going to get humbled even further. I mean, because that's really what this last 3 years has been. It's been just a culmination of humblings. Yeah, there's no real ego left, man. I mean, I don't look at myself as anybody. There's some times where that the ego comes back up and I cope and I lean into it and I'm like, I'm the man, I did this, I'm better than everyone. Look at me. Oh yeah, fuck yeah. I'm fucking, Giga Chad out here living like a nomad in the 21st century. Like, fuck off, man. Who gives a shit? I'm rambling. It's still getting wet. Hopefully this thing fucking dries. Hopefully it doesn't start pouring today. But I got my stuff over here under a tarp. It's tucked away in the woods. I'm far enough away from people. No one comes back here. So I'm going to leave it. I'm going to go charge the device, upload this video for you guys. And I've got kind of a list of things I want to do today. I'm going to research the travel options. I'm gonna see about a micro SD card for the Switch, how much that is. I mean, if I have some money, like it's $20 or whatever, I'll buy that, because the Switch doesn't have much storage. I think it has like 20 gigs, and each of these games is like 14, 15, sometimes even like 28, 30 gigs. So you can only have like one or two games on there at a time, and then you got to find someone to download, and it's just this bull crap. So, I'm gonna download some videos and some music. We're gonna look at the philosophy section at the library, and yeah, that's gonna be it. That should kind of take up my time. I'm probably gonna go by a coffee shop and ask for some hot water, put some grounds in there, get a little cream that they have on offer, and enjoy hot coffee for free, and eat some tamales, some beef tamales I got for $5 at the store, until the library opens up at 10 o'clock, and I can take a mean shit and go on with my day. Before I close this, I actually caught Hell by the Dashboard light stream last night, and we talked about obviously the demographic doom. Uh, he's done so many videos over the last 10 years that it'd be nice if he could edit them or get someone to edit them, and he could publish what would be called the demographic doom album. And who knows? I might start doing something similar. I might start actually taking pictures of the demographic collapse around us, all the interracial pairings, all the dysgenic pairings, all the just the weird, freaky people you see, these trannies, just I think I'm just gonna start taking pictures and posting them, because why the fuck not, man? I mean, this is clown world. These people are obviously doing this to get attention. They don't, seem to really care about perception. So don't tell me, oh, you posted their face. That's rude. That's not right. That's illegal. Fuck you, dude. These people post. These people are openly, unabashedly, flaunting what they are and what they've chosen to do with their life. So who cares if you put it online? They'll probably just be happy if they saw that, honestly. But another thing, right, the last final little thing was a comment about the speeding up of time. And it's real, man. Since 2020, they did something with CERN. They've definitely, augmented time to some degree where it's like this. And I know it's like this because I'll get up in the morning at 7:30. I'll pack up my stuff. I'll smoke a little ciggy. I'll walk down to the library, which is about 30 minutes away. It's already, 9, 10 o'clock. The library's already open. I'll sit at the library for what feels like an hour or two. It's 2, 3 in the afternoon. Sometimes it's closing. Like, and I'm not very focused in on what I'm doing. I'm still aware of the flow of time, the seconds and the minutes going by. But yet, when I look at the clock, they're not together. They don't seem to coincide. My perception of time is not what the flow of time actually is. And I want you guys to really take that into some consideration, because it's making it easier. It's actually making it easier to get through each day. And knowing that time is just speeding up this fast that it can just fall through my fingers like sand, means that as long as I can just get through one day, I can go to sleep, I can get that hard reset, and we can do it again. I just have to get through one day. And now that the flow of time is sped up, it's only been made easier and easier. And I'm not worried about, achievement. I'm not over here trying to, make an album. I'm not over here trying to, draw a mosaic, or, get a portfolio going on something. I'm not really doing anything. I have no proper use of my time. So I don't have to sit there at the end of the day and be like, oh man, I wasted another day. How could you waste a day that was never yours to begin with? I mean, if you have no station in society, if you have no job, no income, no ability for upward trajectory, how can you waste a day? The day is yours. Right? That's why I talk about the Saturnic time trap, where it's like you got to master your time. You got to figure out what you can do within your time, because the time is just frittering away every single day. So try to do something, and that's all I do, guys. I do something, and I look back at what I did, and I can at least go to bed and be like, all right, cool. I didn't completely fuck off and dick off this day away. So there you go. There's a video.